What is going on, guys? I am Eddie Lynch, your host for this week's podcast. I have not contacted the rest of the podcast Legend Killers to podcast with me, so I'm just going to ride this one solo this week. Okay, so I'm just going to review Raw, Smackdown, and Lucha Underground, and that'll conclude this review. So let's get into it. Just a quick heads up. I caught the 90-minute version of Hulu on Raw because I missed the 3/4 of the show this Monday, and I managed to tune in, I think, to the women's match for like a couple of spots. So, if I miss any matches, if I miss anyone's favorite highlights or segments or whatever, apologize in advance, even though it's not that likely. But anyway, so the show starts off with the teaser and a recap of, what happened last week. The Shield has been teased. Well, Rollins and Reigns anyway. Stephanie comes out, of course, to cut a promo. Mentions Foley being absent. Talks about Survivor Series. Bill Goldberg versus Lesnar. Making me wait for her to get to her point, which she finally does. And she announces the Team Raw for Survivor Series. They each do their entrances, and comes out the 5th member, which obviously was Seth Rollins. Quick little side note, Roman Reigns came out to a quote-unquote ovation, as Corey Graves pointed out. I guess a serenade of boos can count as an ovation. Anyway, Seth and Kevin give a short promo exchange, which leads to Stephanie to give an elementary school pep talk. that line, "Is that who we are?" It's such a laughable line. I mean, damn it. Stephanie is so bad, damn near awkward as a babyface with her promos. Just, it's awkward. Anyway, she made the small line that I feel she could have played an interesting little narrative, a short little build. Fight as if your jobs were on the line, because they are. Which they didn't really capitalize. They just kind of shrugged that off. And then it just went into Jericho doing a pep talk, and doing it right, might I add. But, yeah, so basically, after that, Jericho cuts a hilarious little pep talk promo. You guys may be stupid idiots, but you're our stupid idiots. Kevin Owens chimed in with a few good retorts here and there. Pretty funny stuff. After that, Seth Rollins, he quickly just says, "Yeah, I dig." And then he smacks Jericho with the mic and leads to a 4-way brawl. And I say 4-way because Braun Strowman just stands there awkwardly for like a quick minute until he just decides to jump in. He attacks Jericho and Rollins. He goes out and then has a face-to-face with Roman, which it took the longest time. After that, Stephanie comes out, sounding almost desensitized to this. Okay, I get it. You guys need to get it all out, and we'll just have a fatal 5-way. That is our main event. Next, we see Bill Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar promo package. Good stuff. Pretty interesting. They made both of them do the whole sit down live via satellite type promo, I guess. I'm not sure what to call that little setup. Next is Sami Zayn versus and the Stephanie McMahon segment, which I had written down in my notes. Stephanie McMahon, she did it right this time. So let me run through it quickly. Sami walks into Stephanie's office, waits for her to get off the phone. Stephanie keeps Sami waiting, and believe me, she took a long time to to get off that phone. Took her sweet ass time. Sammy's just waiting there. Stephanie finally ends the phone call. Stephanie proceeds to talk about her issues until Sammy asks, "Is this why you brought me into your office?" And she, she blatantly says, "Your presence annoys me." She goes on about him bothering Mick Foley for the shot at the IC title. And she says she wants Rusev to challenge for the title. So she tells him it's him versus Rusev tonight for a number one contender spot. And she says to him, whoever wins better bring that title. Short and sweet was this promo, or segment, excuse me. It delivered a hell of a lot more than Stephanie's opening promo. Everything she did was perfectly heel Stephanie, from her mannerisms down to everything she said. Which made me think about her character a little bit. And I think, for those that are, confused on her character, I think I understand it a little more. And I think if they're not already doing this, then they should. She's usually more heelish backstage than in the audience. So you could be having this sort of false prophet image that you're playing with her. Like this two-faced image is better word to describe it. Yeah. Okay, so you could have Stephanie cut heel promos backstage and face promos outside, just sort of get her antagonized a little bit. And when I say these heel and face promos, I mean with the heel promos you say the most evil shit, like the most evil corporate things you could possibly say, and with the audience face promos, you could say the cheesiest things, throw everything in their mother with her promos, and you got a legit engaging heel authority figure, in my opinion. At least potentially. So, yeah, moving on. There was a tag team Survivor Series segment which was the tag team division. I don't believe they've had a team this big before, so there's that. Anyway, there was really no rhyme or reason. Sheamus starts the promos out, leading Enzo and Cass and the club to bicker with Sheamus and Cesaro. Sheamus and Cesaro, I think, did the best on the mic up until the New Day came in. That rooster line to Sheamus was priceless. The New Day comes out outlandishly, of course, but hilariously, come out in kilts and face paint. Xavier Woods introduces everyone to Agnes, Francesca's cousin. I wonder if Francesca too has a cousin. Sheamus and the club threaten to leave the team. Big E responds with Braveheart impersonation. From here, the segment began to go flat. After a commercial break, went straight to a tag team match. So we got the club versus the New Day. The New Day does their typical shtick for a little bit, but we do get to see some good spots. We saw a roundhouse kick from Gallows to the back of Big E's head. Then the leaping big boot from Anderson. They go for a few minutes until Kofi takes a spine buster and Big E takes a magic killer cleanly over the New Day. And I noticed Xavier Woods kind of disappeared, so maybe Hulu edited something out there that I didn't get on the 3-hour version. Next, we get a second promo package for Bill Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. This one showing Brock's perspective of things. And Brock, he proved that he actually can cut a promo when he wants to. He delivered. Paul Heyman also did a great job talking about all the people that Brock Lesnar has defeated since his run. Anyway, this basically just showed every single chance that Goldberg doesn't have in this feud, in their fight. Next was the women's segment. So the formula for this one was rather simple. Similar to the opening segment, you had Michael Cole instead of Stephanie introduce every wrestler, have each of them do their individual entrance, and have them cut an individual promo. Charlotte does a good heel promo. Nia Jax does a generic Lone Wolf heel promo that Corbin did on SmackDown Live, which I'll get into. Bayley comes out to an ovation, and I mean a real ovation. Not what Corey Graves had said about Roman Reigns on commentary earlier on in the show. The entire time, Bayley, she tries to cut her promo. And I say tries to cut, not because it was bad or anything, but because, she was overwhelmed by the ooh, ah, be my girl chants. And, I'm not going to start singing that chant. Anyway, she starts cutting this promo, talking about why she's excited. She tries to get a pop off of Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss, or a pop for them anyway, but it kind of fell flat because, the crowd was still chanting the whole "Be My Girl" chants. After that, Michael Cole, he was about to introduce Sasha Banks. Charlotte yells at Michael because she wanted to do the honors. So as she tries to do the honors, she gets drowned out by the chants at first, but she started to play off of it quickly after. And that's a good trait for Charlotte to have, honestly. She interacts with the crowd really good, and that's what I love about her. Charlotte cuts this introduction well designed to make people think she was talking about Sasha, which of course had me fooled. And man, I really can't believe I keep falling for these swerves, man. She goes on to say this woman started the women's revolution. And right then and there, I felt annoyed at first, because had I realized her swerve, I wouldn't have been so prepared to rant. Because to make that claim that Sasha Banks started the women's revolution, I can't agree to that at all. Even though some can, and more power to them for it. But I feel the Four Horsewomen lifted the revolution to flight. They lit it up rather than actually start it, because that's what AJ Lee did. But you know what? I'll get into that another day. I gotta continue with this review. Charlotte goes on to give these praises about Sasha, and she even does the Four Horsewomen hand sign to tease the crowd a little bit, but then sticks her thumb out to introduce the fifth member, being Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke, she does her entrance, but then Sasha comes out due to the introduction from Michael Cole. After that, they cut a short exchange. They play off the ooh ah chants, and from there you have Charlotte playing off Nia Jax. Ask her if you think she's a boss, and then the promo cut to commercial on Hulu, unfortunately. So I can't really tell you the rest of how this promo goes. I noticed back from commercial break, they also cut out the 6 women tag match, which was kind of disappointing. I was looking forward to reviewing that one, but from what I caught on the 3-hour version, the Bayley chants were huge. A quick little side note for those that are on the internet wondering, has Bayley been ruined by her promo on Raw Talk, which I haven't seen yet, but I heard it was really bad? No, she hasn't. So get that out of your mind quickly, because as you can tell from this segment, she's still very much loved by the fans, myself included. So no, Bayley has not been ruined or buried or whatever. Moving on, I can't really tell you the rest. So from commercial break, it goes straight to Rusev versus Sami Zayn. Rusev starts charging the momentum at Sami Zayn. After a few minutes roll by, Sami Zayn gets in a bit of offense. They go back and forth from the commercial break. For a short amount of time, eventually Sami Zayn, he gets a haluva kick on Rusev in the second attempt, and he pins Rusev clean. Great match. I think they should be getting ready to groom Rusev for the main event. He's slowly getting over, especially with the Machka thing. Rusev could be the next top heel, in my opinion. And going to Sammy here, I'm really liking that they're giving us Sammy versus Dolph. To me, it doesn't really matter who wins it, but personally, I think it should be fun, even though I don't see Sammy taking the belt. Now let's get to the main event here. Roman and Strowman have an unnecessarily long stare down, as if they didn't already have one in the opening segments. Everything that followed this was really solid. Let's be honest here. I think my favorite spot was the powerbomb from Rollins to Jericho landing on Strowman as well. Really cool. The finish of the match was unique. I don't think I've seen that finish in quite a while, to be honest with you. Roman Reigns, Superman punches Kevin Owens onto Chris Jericho, and Kevin Owens gets the 1-2-3. That was a pretty interesting way to end the show. It was decent. It was a decent show. I guess it's a solid B- at best. I think the main event really boosted everything altogether. Okay, let's get into SmackDown Live. So, AJ comes out cutting a promo on Dean and Ellsworth. This segues into everyone else getting their entrance. Baron Corbin comes out basically saying he's not a team player. To which the Wyatt family comes out. AJ welcomes them as well in open arms. They didn't say anything. Ambrose comes out and, he introduces Ellsworth. Through that, AJ, he flips out. He's triggered, as the lingo goes. God, I hate that word. Anyway, he says, get Ellsworth out of here. And, Dean, he defends Ellsworth, says, if you got a problem with him, you got a problem with me. To which Shane comes out. He says, yeah, let's get this friction out the way. And we have a 6-man tag this week with AJ Styles and the Wyatt family versus Baron Corbin, Dean Ambrose, and lo and behold, Ellsworth. Next was the Vaudevillains versus Breezango. I see the Vaudevillains entrance has been skipped. But when I saw Breezango come out in kilts and handing people tickets, and then JBL, I just had to laugh. And I see the match itself, it was pretty short. As much as I wanted the Vaudevillains win, it turned out having Breezango win was the smart choice because the fans started fandangoing again. If WWE is smart, they have something there for Breezango. I hope they do salvage them as well as they salvage the Vaudevillains. Next, we get a backstage segment versus Shane McMahon and Baron Corbin. Shane goes to tell Corbin that about their match in case Corbin didn't hear it. Corbin refuses to have this match. Therefore, Shane puts Corbin in a match with Kalisto, the returning Kalisto. Naomi versus Natalya. Nikki Bella, she comes out to do commentary for this segment. I don't even know whether I should call this a segment, a match. I mean, because it basically wasn't. Natalya comes out. Naomi comes out. This is a second entrance that amuses me this week. Naomi, she comes out looking like a fluorescent version of Demon Finn Balor with the hat and the dreads. And I mean that with no malice whatsoever. Much love to Naomi. The match itself, again, disappointing segment. I really don't even want to call it a match. So they go about 2 minutes, pull out some basic chain wrestling. Carmella comes out for no reason whatsoever but to harass Nikki Bella. Natalya, she comes out, pulls out a whistle and tells them both to back up and whatever. Natalia pushes Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella, wow, there's a lot of N's in this name. Anyway, Nikki Bella, she forearms Natalia, and Carmella, she starts laughing, to which she gets forearmed by Nikki Bella as well. Natalia gets up as though nothing happened. She's still trying to break them up for some reason, and she blows that whistle, to which no sound comes out. Once the ref gets the 9, she gets back in the ring, and Naomi rolls her up. 1, 2, 3. Thus ends this segment, and this was terribly, terribly disappointing. I mean, honestly, it wasn't funny. It was just, I don't know what they were going for here. So next we got Kalisto versus Corbin, which was supposed to be a match, but instead Corbin attacked Kalisto viciously, might I add. I mean, the stiff forearm, the getting slid outside the ropes, it was pretty nasty stuff. Corbin, he goes outside the ring, he slips on the skirt, to which Kalisto capitalizes, and he kicks Corbin's knee into the steps, and he frog splashes his knee. Very nice to see some aggression out of Kalisto. At least he's not, pure, milk toast vanilla baby face, whatever word you want to use. Anyway, this leaves Shane and Daniel to pick a 6th member, which I'll get into. Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. Great stuff. I love this match start to finish. But if you're going to call a match a main event, then actually make it the main event. Don't have it middle of the card and then have other segments and have another match, 2 matches afterwards. That makes me mad. If Sasha and Charlotte can close out Raw, then these two should be able to close out SmackDown. So anyway, the match starts with Alexa attacking Becky's arm, and Alexa has a lot of good offense in this match. A lot. But Becky got a good few moves in there too. She did the schoolgirl to a powerbomb. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Roman Reigns does this move all the time. It was pretty good. The finish was slightly dusty, with Becky getting the disarmer and Alexa having her foot on the ropes, but she tapped anyway. I guess she couldn't handle the pain, or whatever narrative they're going to play with that. After that, you got Alexa Bliss, complaining on Talking Smack about being robbed. And Becky Lynch gives a reaction on YouTube. So, if you guys want those clips, be free to search them up on your own time. I'm not really going to go into those. Good stuff. They seemingly held back for some of their stuff so that their final match would be the best. So it works for me. By the way, if they have a rematch at TLC, they should have a ladder match. I mean, come on. How fitting would that be? You're in TLC, right? And if you want to make this Women's Revolution thing really launch, don't just give it to Sasha and Charlotte. Give Becky and Alexa some screen time. I know that their Hell in a Cell, wasn't the best with all that happened, but again, not a regrettable match in my opinion. Great stuff from the two. So I know Becky and Alexa can have a great match. I mean, think about it. An exploder suplex onto a ladder, or a sparkle splash off the ladder. How cool would that be? Plus, if in storyline, if SmackDown wants to compete with Raw, they could add that as a little component to help build this match, but don't make it as a focal point. Then you're just doing this whole thing all wrong. An example of doing this would be like having SmackDown bash Raw on commentary On top of that, again, it gives Becky and Alexa a turn at pushing this Revolution to the next level. So next, and disappointingly, we see Apollo Crews and Kurt Hawkins, in a pointless match. And I swear, Apollo can't catch a win on SmackDown. To think the guy started undefeated in NXT. I believe the saying for a short bit was Apollo Crews just can't lose. Or maybe I'm just assuming that off of WWE 2K17. Cheap little plug for you, so enjoy that, WWE. The main event. The whole point of this match was, teasing Ellsworth not tagging in, and surprise, surprise, he tags in Poetic Justice. Ellsworth takes his sister Abigail and loses on the first move. Pretty good match, I'd say. Bray has gotten one more win over Ellsworth than Styles has ever had in his career, so if they have a program together, I guess Bray can hold that over Styles, The show was decent as well. I give it a B-, only because of Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss, which, again, they should have closed the show. Alright. Enough going on about SmackDown. Let's get into Lucha Underground. The show opens with Famous V versus Mascarita. I forget the stipulation title of this match, but I do know that they let the crowd bring their own weapons, and it was a good match. There's a lot of interesting things in this opening match. I mean, the highlights were endless. There was popcorn being dumped, Mascarita stuffed inside a trash can, a few funny spots, like when Famous B grabbed the picture from Dr. Wagner and said, wait, and he was like, that's a picture of me. You're not gonna do that. The holy shit chance to the pie to the face was I loved it. Didn't expect to see that. All right. It was only an appetizer for the matches to come. I know I complained about Lucha Underground, giving their mid-card matches main event material, but when I had it written in my notes about what I was gonna say, I was gonna say a lot, but compare this to what happened in the main event. I can't really complain anymore because the main event, superseded every single match by far. But you know what? I'll say it anyway. Lucha Underground, it's playing with fire. Let's be honest here. When you give every single match main event caliber stuff, and I know that this show is only an hour long and it usually only has 3 matches, you're playing with fire to an extent where you could be, taking away from the main event, which I haven't seen them do yet, but I guarantee they will. Much love to Lucha Underground again. Okay. Let's get into the next segment, which was the AR Fox and Killshot segment. I'm in a little over my head because I'm starting to get back to Lucha Underground, so I don't really know too much about what's going on, at least in the smaller storylines, but I do know about Killshot and AR Fox. They start talking about their feud, and I guess they're sort of doing a reluctant tag team. And I say sort of because with the way they played off of each other, it was like almost natural. They referred to each other as brother various times. Be honest with you, I'm not really sure what to say. What their position is, but they did a good segment. They talked about Lucha Underground. They talked about Aztec Warfare, which segues into the next match, evidently. Okay. Okay, so the Aztec Warfare qualifying match. Amazing match. Spot after spot after spot. Ivelisse gets injured, but Marty Moth, he takes a pin anyway, which, which is this match's finish. Commentary teases friction. Good storyline progression. Yeah. Just watch the match yourself. I can't really tell you enough to get into this show if you haven't already. The main event was a Grave Consequences match, and as I was right, it was a buried alive. It was a casket match. Okay, now I can't tell you enough of how good of a job Lucha Underground does to keep these main events delivering. I'm not sure which spot was better, the 6:30 onto the casket match or the chokeslam through 2 tables. So maybe I'll run a poll over Twitter, and we'll see what people vote from there. I think this topped Rey Mysterio versus Chavo last week. Puma lost to Mil Muertes, second wrestler of the week to be written off the show. So maybe they're gonna go for a trifecta, a hat trick next week, write another person off the show. Who knows? Great show. I preferred last week to this one, but in terms of the main event, I preferred this one to last week's. So, solid stuff. I give this show an A+. Solid stuff in my opinion. I'm really liking the format of the show. Makes it so easy to watch. Woo! So, I'm over the hill. This concludes my reviews on Smackdown and Raw and Lucha Underground. So between the 2 brands in WWE, they both face a draw in my book. So both had their good and bad, and I guess the match of the week, and I'll pick one for each brand. So that'll be 3. The Fatal 5-Way. Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss, and Prince Puma versus Mil Muertes. So, yeah, the match recommendation of the week. This is where we pick a match from the grave, from the past of any era, any show, any promotion, and we give a recommendation as a whole podcast, be it Capone, Jordan, myself, or Crime. We each pick an individual match. And again, recommend it. Just a quick introduction for those that don't know. Alright, so this week is JBL versus Kurt Angle versus The Big Show in 2005 for the WWE title. Alright. I am your host, Eddie Lynch. A few plugs for the night. Check out my YouTube channels, Eduardo Betancourt. Check out this podcast channel, Podcast Legend Killers. This will also be hooked up on podbean.com. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll be sure to send my Podbean link down in the description below. If you're watching this on Podbean, I'll be sure to give my YouTube accounts down in the description below, or above, or wherever the description is placed. Well, alright. So, anyway, I'm Eddie Lynch. Check me out on Twitter. Vote for my year-end polls, by the way. I'll make a separate podcast about that. Vote for them. So far, I have about 10 polls. Results will be given on New Year's. Alright. GCW will have their show in January. If you don't know what that is, Gold Coast Wrestling. Yours truly will be a pro wrestler on that show for that upcoming promotion. If you're in the area of Anaheim or LA or Buena Park, wherever it's gonna be sure to come through for that. More info will come as days come by. So This time, all right.